Hi, I'm Ryan Hoyle, Assistant Director for Clinical Education, and I'm here to talk to you today about how to register for clinics and externships. Many of the students interested in applying for a clinic or externship often come to our office with questions on how to register. That's what we're here for today, the registration process, regardless of semester. Registering for a clinic or externship starts through the Clinics and Externships website, found on law.stetson.edu under the Academics tab. You'll see an option for clinics and externships. Clicking that takes you to the Clinical Education homepage. On the homepage, you'll see important dates and reminders about upcoming events, including specific information on the semester's registration window and events providing detailed information about clinics and externships. In addition, the menu bar on the left provides access to frequently asked questions or course opportunities, providing students with detailed information on specifics related to each particular clinic and externship course and frequently asked questions about the courses in clinical education in general. To begin the application process, from the main clinical education homepage, click on the How to Apply button, which will bring up our How to Apply tab. Now, if you're interested in applying for an individual externship, you will see a link for a Word document application. Individual externships require a separate application outside of our application database, which is also found on our How to Apply menu tab. For all other clinics and externships, students will click on the link found on the How to Apply Clinics and Externships web tab. That will take you to the Clinical Education Application Database. From the application database, students will log in using their Stetson user ID and password. For any questions or concerns or complications, please reach out to the Clinical Education Office at clinicaled@law.stetson.edu. The application system is often unsupported by Internet Explorer, so it's preferred to use a browser such as Chrome, Firefox, or anything other than Internet Explorer. Once logging in, students will be directed to an initial application page, which you can see here. This application page asks for your personal contact information, grades, GPA and class rank, address, and semester of graduation. This is the initial part of our application. There are several groups who may see your entire completed application. That includes the Clinical Education Department, myself, and the Director of Clinical Education, other Stetson employees, including the Director of Student Affairs and the Dean of Academics, the overseeing professors for each particular externship or clinic, and potentially your hosting agency or placement location. Once you complete the basic contact information, you're asked to identify a series of prerequisites. Several of our clinics and externships have hard and fast prerequisites, while others have preferred courses and prior experiences. We also ask for prerequisites such as the number of semesters and courses you have taken and whether or not you have applied to the Florida Bar and received your character and fitness clearance. These prerequisite determinations are not determinative of your application, but flesh out your application so that a full review is possible. After identifying the prerequisites, each student is allowed to select the program or programs for which they're interested in applying to. We ask that students apply to as many programs as they are willing to accept a placement into, no more and no less. If that is one program or one particular course, then only apply to one and rank one. If you are interested in applying and willing to accept a placement at 3 or 4 different courses, then please rank those accordingly. We currently have our options separated between clinics and externships. However, when ranking your program preferences, there is no dividing line. So rank 1 through X, both clinics and externships, as opposed to separating clinic and externship preferences. Several of our courses have multiple placement locations, and the applicant is then directed to a location preferences screen. In some instances, we have locations in Sarasota, St. Petersburg, and Tampa. In other instances, there are multiple locations within individual cities or counties. When ranking these location preferences, please remember that these are simply preferences reviewed by the overseeing professor or director of clinical education. It is not an automatic guarantee that if selected for the course, you will be given your top preference. Again, it helps with the overall application package. If you have questions about specific location preferences, you may reach out to the Department of Clinical Education or contact the overseeing professors directly. Part of the application process includes a series of attachments. Our system in this instance can be rather fickle and prefers very short document identifications or names. So we ask for a resume, unofficial transcript, and statement of interest. Because your application is tied together and related solely to the applicant in general, feel free to name these simply resume, PS for personal statement, tran for transcript, something short and simple that won't overload the system. All of the documents need to be uploaded as PDFs, and if you have questions on how to complete this, you can again reach out to clinical education or your IT department. The transcript that you should upload should be unofficial, and the personal statement should be specific to each individual program for which you're applying. We can only take one document per item, so any personal statement you write should be on one document. Simply use a page break or separate paragraphs. The personal statement is designed to be a discussion of your interest in the program. Think of it as a cover letter to a job, but in this case, you're reaching out to the overseeing professor about your interest in the particular course you're applying to and what you're hoping to get out of the experience you have in the semester you're participating in a clinic or externship. After you upload your attachments, you're directed to a disclosure screen. Similar to your application on the Florida Bar, anything that you disclose to the Florida Bar or in your Stetson application should be disclosed here. And we have very specific questions targeting each of these disclosure activities. In many instances, including all of our clinics, the Florida rules regulating the Florida Bar require that your potential clinic supervisor be made aware of and sign off on any disclosures on your application. So much like with our prerequisite screen, these disclosures are not determinative or exclusionary from in regards to your participation, but they do make up part of your application package and again should be consistent with your Florida Bar application. After you have identified any disclosures you may have, you're asked to confirm the information you've put in your application and then sign a series of declarations or agree to a series of declarations regarding your understanding of what's required for your clinic or externship semester. Each credit hour for clinic or externship requires 42.5 hours of work. Thus, a 3-credit externship requires 128 hours of work. Our 5-credit clinics require 213 hours of work. If you have any questions during the completion or processing of your application, again, please reach out to clinical.ed@law.stetson.edu. Our contact phone number is area code 727-562-7359. At the close of any registration process, all applications are then reviewed and overseen by our overseeing professors. Notification on acceptance or participation in a clinic or externship generally occurs 3 to 4 weeks after the close of the registration process, with notifications sent out from the clinical education department via email. Thank you very much, and we look forward to working with you in the future.